All right, guys, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about Alexander Isak, a player that many of you, if not all of you, would love to see at Anfield. I know I would love to see him at Anfield. Now, some of you think that we're going to try and sign him in the summer, and some of you think that such a suggestion is complete madness, because FSG would never splash the cash on a player like that. On a side note, I would say keep an eye on Sesko. Yeah, how do you spell his name? S-E-S-K-O? I don't know. Did we talk about him yesterday? I've got a feeling we did. Well, it was one of the today's exclusives, and I think it might have been yesterday. Make sure you check that video out. But yeah, Benjamin Sesko, I think that's how you pronounce his name in his language, in his native language. Some of you just call him Sesko, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a bit more, switched on with my pronunciations, as you know. Anyway, so some of you think that we'll try and sign Isak. Some of you think that that's complete nonsense. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the situation at Newcastle, because their chief executive, Darren Eales, has been commented on the contract negotiations surrounding players and Isak at Newcastle. And it's relevant to us, really, if you think that we might try and attempt to sign him, or if you think that this player could be on our radar, the infamous radar, then we need to see what's happening at Newcastle, right, regarding the player. So basically, I think it was an article that originated. There's multiple articles about it, but the one that I was looking at this morning when I was in the cafe reviewing the Spanish papers was an article in the Mail. And basically, all of the articles, including the ones from the local media up in Newcastle, excuse me, said that Newcastle will revisit contract discussions with Alexander Isak at the end of the season, but have reminded their star striker he is already on a long-term deal. In other words, we don't need to give you a better deal because you've got an existing contract in place for some time. Now, there were talks towards the back end of last season that didn't progress, didn't go anywhere. It says here that he's under contract until 2028 and is among their highest earners. And the club have took the stance that a new and improved deal was not possible, especially as others would then expect, their contracts to be reviewed, maybe, right? So, again, it says here, it remains to be seen whether they can go to the financial level Isak would demand and deserves. And that's the bit that I think about with Liverpool, because Barcelona, for example, heavily linked with him, really like him, but they can't just go and splash the cash. But, this player is attracting a lot of interest from around Europe. So it's not just the transfer fee, it's about what he would, as it says here, demand and deserve. And it's the salary bit that puts me off more than anything with Liverpool. But you never know, never say never in football, that is for sure. And it also says here, maybe he doesn't even want a new deal, because maybe he is thinking in the back of his head, I could, go somewhere else now, maybe step up a little bit. Not being disrespectful to Newcastle, I'm saying he might consider a move from Newcastle to Barcelona, a dream move, who knows? So let's continue. His 22 goals this term have elevated him further still. When it comes to talk of the world's best striker, and there is interest from a host of top clubs. Now, the chief executive, Darren Eales, insists there is no desire to sell him or anyone else, as he announced financial results for 23-24 that paint an improved picture for the North East club. When asked if the club were now in a position to reward the 25-year-old with a contract reflecting his status in the game, Eales said, "We're going to be clear, he has multi-years left. We will have the discussions in terms of a new deal, just like we did with Joe Linton, Bruno, Anthony Gordon. That's something that we will approach in the summer." So they're going to review things in the summer, but the reminder is, you have got long contracts, or this player in particular, Isak. He also said, "The reality is that all of our players are under long-term deals. They're committed to the club. So from that perspective, we're not looking to move any player on. We have no intention at all of those players being moved on. We're in a position now where, because we were able to move a couple of players in January that weren't really impacting on minutes on the pitch, we've got that wish and desire to keep our key players. They're all under long-term contracts, emphasised again. We're not under the gun or anything like that, not under pressure because of that. We've got an ownership that is ambitious and wants the best for the club. So from that perspective, it'd be crazy for us to consider it, selling Isak and other players, but the focus is on Isak here. With regards PSR constraints, he said at the moment, the way we approach from ownership down and everyone is aligned is that we maximise our revenues and spend to the max we're allowed to, so we incur those losses of £105 million over 3 years to give Eddie and the team the best possible players on the pitch that he wants. So, basically the message there from the chief executive at Newcastle is our players are not for sale. We're under no pressure to sell. Because there's clubs sniffing around Isak, then naturally it comes with the, loyalty will be rewarded with a new and improved offer to keep that player focused, not to be considering leaving. But instead of taking that route immediately, he's saying there, well, hang on a minute, you've got a long contract anyway. We're just going to remind you of that, and also the other players as well, all right? So I don't know. I guess I would love to see him at Liverpool. I think he's a great player, but the transfer fee would be astronomical. It's the salary for me, I think, that might be the bigger problem. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just speculating. Here in Spain, Barcelona drew up a list of 3 primary transfer targets, if you like, and Isak is number 1. Number 2 was Luis Diaz, and number 3 was Sesko, who is a player that I believe Liverpool are sniffing around. But, Barcelona, they've got the 1-1 rule in La Liga. So for every euro spent, if you like, they have to have a euro in. Or, so in other words, they can't just go out and spend £100 million or whatever. They have to get that money in. So it's a little bit trickier for them maybe. Although where there's a will, there's a way. So for those people that think, you might have read or heard rumours, there might be a pressure on Newcastle to give him a new contract to keep Liverpool away, for example, if your focus is on Liverpool. But the CEO there has been very firm, if you like, by saying, we're under no pressure to sell, he's going nowhere, and we're not just going to give you a new deal because other clubs might be sniffing around you. I know it's not a very exciting video, but it's factual. We're quoting what the chief executive there is saying regarding a potential transfer target, if you like. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I mean, I think these quotes maybe came out yesterday, or certainly not today, and they slipped me by. I only saw that. Do you know how I saw them today? I saw them in the Spanish media because of the interest that Barcelona have in the player. But they're saying Sport, and they did this coverage when Deco, the sporting director of Barcelona, did his 6-page interview with them. That while they would love to have Isak, Luis Diaz looks like a more doable deal, if you like. And Sport also said again when Deco did that interview, he wasn't quoted, but Sport also said that Barcelona had spoken to Isak's people towards the end of 2024, and that the response or the feedback given to Barcelona was the client, the player, would be interested in a move to Barcelona. But when we've seen Liverpool mentioned, I've seen the same kind of things, right? So those not in Spain, but on the UK side of things, when they want to try and link Isak with Liverpool, it's like, and the players indicated he would be up for a move. I don't know what I think about it, to be honest with you. I would love to think that Liverpool is an elite club, an ambitious club that should be in there for the best players, right? But there's also a part of me that thinks we should be identifying these players before another club identifies them, right? And if you subscribe to my newsletter, you would know that last month I put out an update regarding that Sesko kid and why it would make sense for Liverpool to be sniffing around him. And it's very credible. It was very credible what was in that newsletter. The link is in the video description if you want to jump on board. It's completely free. There's no advertising or anything. I think you might see him mentioned with us. I mean, yesterday, I think there was the exclusive that I reviewed yesterday, revealing our interest in Sesko. But it's certainly a player that I would advise you take a look at. It's got more FSG written all over him, you know. But there are other alternatives as well. You know, there are other obvious names, alternatives to Isak. I think some of you guys have left comments previously saying you're concerned about his injury record. I don't know what his injury record is. But maybe you could drop me a comment and let me know. Do you think Liverpool should be going all out for him? Do you think, hey, hang on, don't. If we did sell Nunez and Diaz, we'd have the money for him. Do you think we could afford the salary? Could you imagine Liverpool spending that amount of money on that player? You know, unfortunately, there are suggestions that Liverpool would do that, but they're all coming from Twitter twats, and they just want your engagement and want to get your hopes up. Now, when we talk about, say, Sesko, right? Sesko, whatever. Maybe it depends what nationality you are, how you pronounce the name. You'll know me if it's not, you know, Jack Daniels or John Smith. I can't pronounce fucking names, but you know what I mean, right? You know, you can say things like Liverpool are monitoring, and I keep mentioning this, right? That the fan base has become very, like, sarcastic towards the ownership at Liverpool, right? Monitoring FC, on the radar, interested in, sniffing in, considering, blah, blah, blah. And people are mocking the owners or mocking the club because they feel that this is propaganda. But what you have to understand, right, is you only have that impression because you are paying attention to the nonsense on social media. If you erase X from your life, I can guarantee you that you would not be, you know, making jibes at the owners or Liverpool Football Club and saying, yeah, monitoring FC. Because basically what you have to take into account is that these Twitter twats, every day of the week, are posting multiple claims and saying Liverpool are monitoring. And you're reading this all the time. And then nothing happens. And it's like, oh yeah, monitoring FC. But the reality is, what credible journalists say these things? Trust me, right? If you eradicate that, if you get rid of that noise from here, your enjoyment of Liverpool Football Club will be a lot better because you won't be stressed out with it all. And you won't feel that we're a club that just, you know, people have these conspiracies. Oh, Liverpool are just leaking this out, you know, to make... Maybe there might be an extent of that in some ways, but no, guys. I genuinely think that it's unfair to say that Liverpool are monitoring FC because I just think it's because you are reading so much of that shite that it's just made up. And remember, I'll mention it again, just in case you've not heard me say this before. On X, if an account is monetized, right, if they get more than, I think it's 5 million impressions in 3 months, you can become monetized on X. And I'm sure on X, if you click on a post, it tells you how many impressions it's had. So go and look at one of those accounts, right? Let me do it for you right now, just because I need to know this for myself. I think I'm right. Don't know's best and all that. How do I get out of here? LFC, let me have a look. Right, there's a post. Yes, this one here on one of those speculative accounts, 76,000 views. That's on one post, right? So if an account has more than 5 million views over 3 months, they can apply for monetization, and you get it like that, right? And why this is relevant is once they have monetization, first of all, they've got to have the blue tick, right? They've got to be on premium, right? They've got to pay for X to become monetized. Although I think you can hide the blue tick, but all of those accounts have all got the blue tick, right? So if you see an account with a blue tick on that's making continuous claims, monitoring on the radar, blah, 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 look at the post that they've put out, all right? And look at the view count on it. And you'll soon work out if that account over the course of 3 months has got more than 5 million impressions. And then, all right, every reply to a blue tick account that is monetized makes that account money. It makes them revenue. If you've got a verified account, a blue tick on your own account, right, and you reply to one of them, whether it's all right, okay, or what a load of shit, that actually makes them money, right? If you don't have a blue tick on your account and you reply to them, it makes them nothing, right? So it's all about the blue ticks, yeah? Why is that relevant? Well, because the more claims they make, whether they're like credible or just absolute nonsense, whether it's positive or whether it annoys you, the more interaction, these are the replies, and when you look underneath their original post, all those blue ticks are making them money. Remember that, right? Remember that. All right. Now, you won't see that on the Cop Talk account on X at Cop Talk because I turn comments off because I don't do things like that. Right. It's not monetized anyway for that. But even if it was, I'm not interested in anybody else's opinion other than my own. I just don't want to engage with the toxicity online. All right. So you've got to remember that the more that these accounts post, right, since Elon Musk took over X, and he made this, the monetization on there, the more they post, the more revenue they make from the replies of the blue ticks. So think about it. The more they say Liverpool are monitoring, the more they say Liverpool are scouting or considering whatever, it's drawing people in. Now, if you had one of those accounts and every time you put one post out, it made you £50 or £10, right? Let's just say £10 every time you posted on X. Would you post on X once a day or would you post on X 10 times a day? What would you do, right? It's common sense, right? Would you give a fuck if people thought you were credible or not? If each time you were getting a tenner every time you posted, you'd be like, I give a fuck what you think, right? So that's where you've got to be careful. The message I'm trying to say to you here, and I don't want to defend the owners, and yes, there is propaganda, and yes, we know where it comes from, right? And we know that there's bullshit at times, right? But remember, I think the monitoring FC thing is unfair on the owners because that's all coming from social media. And if you didn't pay attention to it, you wouldn't be aware of all the nonsense links. I could make videos on here all day, every day about transfer links, right? I could probably do 5 to 10 videos per day saying, oh, we've been linked with this player, been linked with that player, right? But I don't do that to you. It would generate more revenue for this channel, absolutely. And it would get the most views, right? But I don't do that. So when you see me talk about a transfer link, then there's probably a reason for that. I'm either dismissing it and saying, well, chill your brow, guys, this is where it's coming from, it's a load of shite, or pay attention to it. So at the moment, for example, Sesko, I would make a video about him because I know, or I believe, I shouldn't say no as a fact, because it's up to you to make your own opinions. I believe that Liverpool are monitoring him, all right? I don't think they're monitoring him, actually. I think they're inquiring, which kind of goes down that route from social media. There's a difference when I say it to them. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I just wanted to update you with regards the claims regarding Isak, all right? But keep an eye on that, Sesko. That's it. And also, feel free to comment in this video, in the comment section, about other players, that might be of interest. Cunha, for example, all right? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it with you. I'm going to kick back for a bit now. I'm not doing an afternoon stream. I just want an hour's peace. I'm going to get a cup of coffee, and I'll be back with a live stream on here tonight at 6 o'clock UK. But I'm not going to be sat at my desk. I'm going to be sat here with the laptop. So I want to watch the Real Sociedad Manchester United game this evening because I want to see if Zubimendi plays. All right, guys. So come along. It'll be very informal and, come along and have a chat. All right. If you appreciate this video, please thumbs up this video. If you've got a comment about this or any suggestions or feedback regarding any of the players mentioned in this video or, what your thoughts are regarding Isak, please let me know. And also other people, your opinion is really fucking important, right? So express it. You've got the opportunity to express yourself. Please do. It's important. And if you want to buy me a coffee, if you want to go to the cafe or you want to support me, you can hit the love heart underneath my video. It's called a super thanks button, I think. And I will give you a shout out in tomorrow morning's morning briefing. And I'll let everybody know how fucking amazing you are. But don't forget, I do my morning briefings on my other YouTube channel now, youtube.com/Duncan Oldham. All right, guys. I'll leave you with it. I really want to know what you think about the Isak situation. Do you want to go all in? Yeah, we're an elite club. We should be doing this. We should go in there and get that. Or do you think that you should take a stab at a player, 30, 40 million or something that maybe hasn't been, I don't want to say the word discovered because they've obviously been discovered, but maybe hasn't got Premier League experience, and that's the gamble, isn't it? And we've seen that with Darwin Núñez. However, I think there's factors that contribute towards that. I don't want to get into a big debate about Darwin Núñez, but I think a striker needs to be the main man and he needs to be playing week in, week out. I think Darwin leaves us and he becomes brilliant somewhere. But, the top clubs around Europe, as much as they might like Isak, none of them want to pay that fucking money, all right, or the salary. So that's why they look at people like Sesko. All right, guys, thumbs up, comment, coffee, beer. Actually, beer. Beer's a good idea because I'm off for a drink tomorrow with my pals. And then we'll be live on here when I get in. That'll be entertaining. All right, guys, take it easy. See you in a bit.